Hello everyone, I'm Niiniifc, this is Blue Line TV, and I'm bringing you guys another Q&A live stream. I'm hoping that the audio is going to be much better now. I have used a new cable for my mic. It's definitely not this mic because it's a new one, so hopefully the audio should be working fine now. So you guys, if you can let me know quickly if the audio is working good, like there's not crackling or nothing like that. Okay, we good, yeah? Okay, perfect. All right, I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come back. Donal Devani, don't worry, don't worry. I have seen your super chat. I was actually speaking about it earlier, but then obviously I didn't realize the audio wasn't getting picked up. But yeah, when you're back, I will be answering your question. So don't worry about that. Audio is perfect, amazing, no crackling. It must have been the cable then, 100%. It must have been the cable because again, when I was looking at my interface I'm using, everything gets picked up all the time. So that's why I'm always surprised when this mic just stops working all of a sudden. But it must. I've thrown that cable in the bin to be honest. So yeah, perfect. All right, you guys. Yeah, just starting with the Q&A live stream. Don't know if you can hear me. Send me a message on the stream so I can answer your question. Okay, you're back. Okay, perfect. I'm going to answer your question now, and that is, would you give Morata one more season or sell him right now? I think with Morata, as I've been stressing in videos a lot, if the main reason he'll go is if he wants to go. And then second will be obviously how much money can the club get for him. Now obviously he's in Italy a lot. It's no surprise that he loves the city. When I released yesterday's video in regards to his friend Raiden, that Italian rapper, you know, they were both at a wedding a few days ago, obviously talking about the situation, and he's saying that Morata does obviously miss Turin and he would love to come back. He'd even accept a lower wage, and I felt that was kind of, I mean, that could be Raiden putting some of his own personal interjections in for the interview. Or maybe Murata was really telling him how much he wants to come back. Because to make a statement like, you know, oh, I'd be happy to, you know, get lower wages if I can return. Well, that speaks volumes, you know, because especially with this industry in football, it is very money orientated. A lot of times the financial side is the most important aspects. So yeah, there's a possibility that Morata could be going. Now, again, the player wants to go, then of course the club can sell him, in my opinion. But let's be hypothetical for your question. If it was a possibility that we weren't going to sign a new striker and we were going to keep him and Mitchie, I think these guys would both prosper. I think we'd see a different side to them. Of course, they've been used as target men and out of their normal expertise. I think with new managers, if that's Sarri or even potentially Blanc, that means that they can play the more natural role. They can play as more poacher-like strikers. Of course, you know, strikers of that dimension have been obviously prospering under both managers, and I really think these guys would have a chance. But I think ideally, let's say if they were to leave, I'll tell you guys the striker I would love us to sign. That would probably be Edison Cavani. I mean, if there's reports that he's, you know, Atletico are interested and he's thinking of leaving, he's been there for a while. We know that PSG, they need to sell some players now to, you know, actually no, not with that deal that they did. Still, they do need to balance the books a tiny bit. Possibility Cavani's gone. If he's available, I feel that he's the type of striker we should sign. He's cheaper than the other guys. Plus, I think that with his movement, I think his movement's up there with Cristiano Ronaldo's in terms of off the ball movement. I think he's just world class. So he's the type of striker I'd love to see in a Chelsea shirt. Okay, any more questions? Let me see. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit funny too. I do have hay fever. My nose is really blocked right now, so apologies for that. Okay, actually, Sal Marshall needed. Yep, Kwame Goring. Yeah, Cavani. He's the one. Andrew Furry. Yeah, they used to get dropped. Don't know why you'd want them to be honest. Lil Icy. Okay, all right. Stupid guy. Inzi R Nini, can you see Moses playing right back? Well, I think he can. I mean, people keep saying. I mean, have we not seen how we play? Most times we are defending very deep on our own half. Would it be like crazy to imagine Moses playing as a right back instead of a wing back? I mean, how often is he deep in his own half anyway? I mean, with how we played under Conte, these guys act mostly like fullbacks. than wing backs anyway. So I think he can easily make that transition, to be honest. Yes, Granit Razak. Yes, as I've said, I'm sure you've seen on Twitter too. Yeah, there'll be videos where I discuss that. I'm not going to be talking about video content in a live stream. I don't know why I even need to tell you that. Kurt Zuma Nini, do you have any info on Zuma's future? I'm feeling nervous that the club will sell him or put him on loan again. Kurt Zuma, that is so funny that you said that. So funny that you said that. And that's a video for next week too. I am hearing some things on Kurt Zuma. There's a possibility he could be leaving. A possibility. Again, it's going to come down to pre-season and who the new manager is. But that's all I'm going to say on the Kurt Zuma situation for now. SB Danker. Yes, SB, you good? Nini, who are you most excited to watch for the World Cup? I think Belgium. I'm looking for Brazil. I think with the passion they play with. I'm trying to think. What other? Croatia. Actually, are Croatia in the World Cup? Let me see who's in the World Cup just to double check. World Cup. I mean, France, they should be entertaining. Japan. Japan are always a good team to watch. They always play good football, Japan. Their first touch is always on point. No surprise to me why Iniesta would go to Japan to obviously retire there. I think Japan will be a nice team, just from a footballing aspect to watch. Brazil, of course, Brazil with Neymar, one of the best players on this planet. They're the ones I'm looking forward to be honest. I think, yeah, Croatia as well. They play some of the best football as well. You know, they play as a team. I thought they were very unlucky in the Euros when they lost to Portugal. I felt that they were the much better team. Portugal were lucky. They were just defending and playing on the counter throughout the entire game. You know, Croatia, I think that they'll be really ramped up for this. Their midfield is one of the strongest in the World Cup, no doubts about that. And they play as a team, so Croatia definitely. And I've seen them play at the Euros. I saw a few of their games at the Euros, and yeah, very good in the eye. Very good football. Very good football. Okay, Ollie. Yes, Ollie, you good, man. Nakeem Parsons, Hugo Lloris. Yeah. Zaki Mahmood. Yes, man. Nini, do you think Mason Mount will play any part in the upcoming season? I think with a lot of these guys, again, anytime the managers or the potential candidates have been questioned, and I say this in all the videos too, one question they always get asked is obviously how they see the youth team, the academy, loan players, and Sarri and Laurent Blanc have had a lot of positive things to say. So, and they've even spoken about the possibility of integrating some of these guys. So it's gonna come down to pre-season who's impressing, because the managers haven't really seen them or up close yet, so that can obviously affect a lot of things. So yeah, I mean, fingers crossed they have a chance to show themselves during pre-season. And yeah, what other questions are there? Let me see. Okay, what other ones? Michael Daniel, would Fekir suit the Hamsik role in our team? I'm not too sure about that. If Fekir would suit, I think Fekir is, he plays much more further up. You know, I think false nine. If you said to me, could Fekir play the Mertens role, then yeah, I think Fekir could easily play that Mertens role. I think he can play that number 9 role in a Laurent Blanc system as well. I think this guy's much better playing further up, either as an inside forward or playing as a centre forward. He's not I wouldn't really, even though he can play midfield, I don't think you're getting the best out of him if you're telling him to drop that deep. You know what I mean? So now I think that's why the club aren't looking at him, because we don't plan on using him up front. So yeah. Mattia S, thoughts on Jada Silva? Again, I know that the England team won the Toulon Cup. I didn't watch it, of course. I wasn't able to. Yeah, I'm hoping this guy for me can be the future at left back for us. I hope he gets a fair chance to show himself during pre-season. If not, I hope he does get a very good loan move. Maybe Derby County, my opinion, Fulham. Watching Jada Silva and Ryan Sessegnon playing on the left together could be very exciting, and I think it could open up a lot of people's eyes in regards to just how good he is. Siddharth, hey man, you good? Robser, hey Nini, what's your opinions on Bertrand? Been solid for years, wouldn't cost us much. For me, Top 10 most underrated players in this league. Even when you look at his stats, even though Southampton weren't great, he was still one of the top performing left backs. You know, like, I mean, sometimes, let's say for players playing well for a team that's doing poorly, if you don't watch them, then it's easy to think that he had a bad season too. You know, that happens so often. But with Ryan Bertrand, I mean, he's just very solid. I think he should be playing at a much higher level. Honestly, he should be. And again, when it comes to the club, so that's the thing. Every club has their fullback situation sorted. So that is the annoying thing. I mean, I don't know. Moving abroad, I'm sure he's on pretty good wages. I don't know, but to me, this guy should be playing at a much higher club, much higher level. He should be playing in Europe, to be honest. Lukman, Ahmed, Bailey, please. Yep, Ben X. If there was a youth league on FIFA 19, who would be Chelsea's highest rated player? I'm guessing it would be Hudson-Odoi, to be honest. Nini, your comment about Bailey, long ass video. I'm still finishing the script for that, so until that's finished, I won't be releasing it. But yeah, I mean the Bailey thing is just a long video. That's gonna be. Have I got any super chats? No. Yep, you guys, I'm going to be on for like an hour, so I'll be on for like 50 more minutes before I go. Other questions are there? Let me see. Okay, Roland. Jardim seems like a strong character. Like, I'm still confused. What did Marina say or do? Well, obviously, he didn't get the job. He didn't pass the interview stage. You know, other candidates did much better. And yeah, I mean, of course, he was very upset about not getting the job, especially when he's been speaking to the club for a while, and he would have been very easy to secure, like very, very easy to secure. But yeah, Chelsea didn't want to pursue looking at Jardim, and I don't know, Jardim for me is a fantastic manager. I mean, this has been the good thing in my opinion this summer, just been being linked with the right managers, that play the right style of football. And these guys are all interested in wanting to join Chelsea as well. So, we still have some degree of power, you guys, Managing Chelsea still is a good thing. Forward thinking. Hey, Nini, loving the content, bro. My question for you, lovely Liverpool song for you to sing. I'm not singing that at all, man. Sorry. Obviously, I know you took time writing that, but I'm definitely not singing that. Will Rayner, do you think that this preseason will offer fresh hope to the youth and loan army under a new manager, as Conte just ignored them, didn't play in them, and never spoke to them? Well, yes. And I'm saying that again, if you're watching the videos, I'm always saying the same point too. Obviously, every candidate was questioning about player development, the loan army, the youth team, etc., etc. So they needed to have a degree of knowledge in regards to what's happening at Chelsea. And all of them had very positive things to say. Again, it'll be very different with our youth under managers like this. So, yeah, there definitely are things to be positive about. Josh Banks, when the new stadium is eventually built, do you think 60,000 is a good size? Personally, I think we should have it to 65. I think for the price, I mean, it depends on the price, to be honest. I mean, the reason why the stadium stopped is because, the price keeps rising and rising. And how are investors supposed to make any money on that? They can't. So it has been put on hold. Originally, the price we were going to build it for, because it wasn't $1 billion, it would have been good for a 60,000 seater stadium. Again, it depends on the budget for stadiums, It really depends on the budget. Ideally, a great scenario would be, because again, a lot of this stuff comes down to, planning permissions and stuff like that. If we're able to, let's say, get like a stadium that's got a base capacity of 60,000, but over the years you can, let's say, develop stands to increase the size and etc., that would be a good possibility to have. I mean, similar to Old Trafford. I mean, of course, with all the stands that they've been, adding on top, that's why the capacity is so big at Man United. Other questions to ask. Okay. Alejandro Membrilo. Our preferred back four for next season. Well, I don't know. I can only give you my opinion. I mean, the back four I would see would be Moses, Zuma, Christensen, and Emerson, because I think with so many young talent, I can see Emerson, Christensen, and Zuma being some of the best in their position if they're all playing together, understanding each other's game, working together, etc., etc. Because again, with defending, it's not just about individual talent, it's about how you defend as a unit. And this is why it's always good to have your back line playing together, and this is why defense is rarely a position you see a lot of rotation happening. Roland Boga had a great preseason last season. Actually, he has better talent than the French team right now. We messed up on Boga. We've 1000% messed up on Boga. The club really know that they have messed up a lot with a lot of the young talent that they do have, and they know they've been making a lot of stupid mistakes. And again, expect a lot of these guys to be sold, and expect there to be a lot of buyback clauses put on them. It's the only way to do it. I mean, so many shit loan moves, shit clubs. It's not fair, and I mean, it's just it shouldn't be a raffle ticket, especially for some of the best guys in the academy. It definitely should not be a raffle ticket. I mean, think about it like this. Let's say if Mason Mount was on loan at Birmingham or was on loan at Granada. Would he really be able to show what he can really do? Let's be serious. Like, would he really be able to show what he's about? Playing under shit teams that play shit football? Of course not. He wouldn't be able to. I mean, let's say Christensen never got Borussia Mönchengladbach. Let's say Christensen was on loan at Real Betis. Would he even be in the team now if he was on loan at Real Betis? I mean, probably not. Let's say Courtois. Let's say Courtois never got that Atletico Madrid move. Let's say he was on loan to Getafe. Would he be a Chelsea goalkeeper right now? Probably not. And again, the amount of luck that's needed in football all the time is a bit stupid. I think it can be too short-sighted, especially in this country. And I don't think it has to. Luck shouldn't be involved. I mean, if you've got talents, there should be plans. You should know how to develop these guys and help them go to another level. That should be the reality, in my opinion. Okay, Leo 31291. Talking of youth, where did Josh McEachran go wrong in your view? Josh McEachran, and that's a great question. Thank you, Leo. With McEachran, again, another case of poor loan moves. Again, the curse of Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers, it's a theory. There's nothing I have that backs it up, but I kind of think he's got this weird man management style in terms of how he uses the squads. And I kind of think that he's got this thing where, well, if I've been using this first team for so long, I'd feel bad if I kick someone out the team to play someone that just came. You know what I mean? This is why before Masunda, it was Patrick Roberts who had the problem getting into the Celtic team. It wasn't because of talent or not doing well in training. It's just this preference for the people already there. I just don't understand Masunda as well. Stupid. Nothing's come out about him being a problem at Celtic. Nothing's come out about poor training. Everyone knows, especially within the club, that Masunda is a very, very hard worker. The fact that he wasn't playing wasn't down to not being good enough. Of course it wasn't. I just think it was a stupid man management by Rodgers. He's thinking, well, the season's nearly over. These guys that I've been using throughout the season, they deserve to keep playing because, again, they're the reason why we're winning the league. Masunda is on an 18-month contract, so I don't care if he doesn't play during that first 6 months. But Masunda was like, well, actually, you know what? Fuck this. There's no way. You told me to come here. You offer me this wage. You told me this stream. You told me this. You told me that. I need to go against your words. And then now I'm part of this long-term plan for next season. Well, no, that's not good enough for me. I'm going to cancel this loan move and I want to go back to the club. And this is the risk with loans. And you guys might be thinking, but with loan moves, how come it's only Chelsea that have this problem? That's because we have 40 players out on loan. How many clubs have the amount of loanees that we do? Most clubs, only a handful of players get loan moves. It's easy. When you have to manage about 40 players in their loan moves, it's no surprise to me why so many mistakes constantly keep happening all the time. And this is what I mean. Surely there should be a strategy in place now, especially if the loan army is part of your way to make money for the club. There needs to be a better strategy in place for when people have done their part there, how can they progress to the next level? Because otherwise, it looks very cynical, but it looks purely like a money-making scheme, and you don't really care about the young players. You only care about the money you're getting for them. I mean, I'll give you an example. Kurt Zouma, he cost Stoke City £8 million for the season. £8 million. for that loan move. That's how much. That's a ridiculous amount of money. Now imagine all these guys getting loan moves, who are getting this half their wages or some of their wages getting paid off. You're getting the loan fees every month for these guys. You got about 40 of these guys on loan as well. Imagine how many millions coming in every month. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, back to your question about Josh McEachran, he was the original guy to suffer with that. Of course, after the Swansea thing where, you know, Rodgers again went against his words, it was shit loan moves. You know, he got this loan move to Middlesbrough, one of the most disgraceful loan moves. And why was it disgraceful? Because he was being used on the right as a winger. McEachran was being used on the wings. And it wasn't the first time that he's been going to clubs where he has been misused, hasn't been used in the right position. And it's just, you know, it sums up why I don't really like loan moves as much, especially for your top talents. Yeah, loan moves are okay for guys like Casey Palmer. Ones where you're not too sure if they're ready for the first team, but with a loan move, they have, you know, they can control their destiny. But then, you know, when the guys are on a much higher level compared to players like that, then there should be a much more greater degree of care and attention with their career. You know, Josh McEachran, again, a lot of these guys, Kakuta suffered, actually not Kakuta, but, you know, McEachran suffered with, you know, being at the mercy of their loan clubs. And then what happens all the time? Managers get sacked. And the thing is, once a manager gets sacked and a new one comes in, a new one that doesn't care about the loan players, because that wasn't his player he picked, he's got a completely new system. We're at the mercy of that. And, you know, too often, a lot of our players have been suffering under that. And this is why McEachran didn't really have the career he was supposed to have. And just misfortune. And the scary thing with football is this could happen to anyone. It could happen to anyone if you don't get the right loan move. But, yeah. Some other questions to answer. Mohammed, thank you for that super chat, man. Hi, Nini. Any transfer or managerial updates? Yes, there is one. There's going to be in tomorrow's video. I'm going to be talking about, you know, this, you know, what's happening with the Sarri negotiations. It is going to be an update video. And with transfers, I do have some news on Sarri. I'm hearing some positive things. Not enough just yet for it to be a full-length video. But I am hearing some positives. I know everyone's reading these reports on Man City. I don't know. So I don't even mean to sound like a prick, but I think sometimes, you know, people don't always tweet me and DM me every single thing, because it's like when any time someone's nervous, like my whole mentions are always flooded with links to this article, that article, that article, and that article. Like, if I'll release it here if it's something important on the channel. I think too often I keep getting that, and going on Twitter sometimes I'm not using it as much because it's just like kind of boring now. You know what I mean? So yeah, in regards to the situation, you guys, like I said, it's gonna be in a video. But anyway, thank you for that super chat, man. Okay, Bitcamp, don't worry, you guys. We'll buy Chelsea FC, then everything will be good. 10 iron 99 Nini. What's next for Pedro and Barkley? Bad season for both of them. Yes. Again, I expect there to be a lot of players that get sold. Aidan Boyle. Fekir deal broken down. Yep, of course, that's been pretty big news. That's come out the past few hours. Carl Martinini. Do you prefer Chelsea, Bailey, or Malcolm? There's a possibility that there could be both. So don't rule that out, obviously. I think they're very similar, these types of players. I think when it comes down to saying who's better, I don't know. I don't really think there's too much of a difference between Malcolm and Leon Bailey. I mean, they're very direct. They got threats on goal. I think they've scored like nearly the same amount of goals and got the same amount of assists. So yeah, I mean, both these guys will provide something in the team. But brings that question up about Masunda and Kennedy. Obviously, I look at guys like Malcolm and Leon Bailey, and the reason why they're, you know, big guys now with big reputations is because these guys were smart. You know, instead of signing for a big team early, and that seems to be the biggest mistake. If you're a young player with talent and you want to sign for a big academy like Chelsea, it's okay if you're hoping to get your education and then leave. But the thing is, these clubs force you on long contracts, so you can't do that. And then they just hope to make money from you after that. It's very cynical. It's just like, think about it, it's so weird because, you know, the big clubs spend so much money signing some of the best young players in the world for their academies. So already when they're coming there with a degree of, you know, of like a degree of ability, like a high ability, high potential, probably some of the best players already in the academy. And then obviously once they do that 2 years and it gets to them trying to make moves to the first team, it's never there, because obviously the first team is always a different identity for these teams. You've got big players on big wages. There's no space for most young players. And then these types of young players with the big talent, they end up suffering in the future. They get sent on loan to clubs that they shouldn't be playing for. And then their careers go completely different paths. And it happens so often. And I just don't understand why so many of these young talents keep making that same stupid mistake. Someone like Basunda, if he had stayed on loan at Anderlecht, he would have been in their first team very early, probably from 16 or 17. Let's say he plays for them a year and a half, 2 years, like what Leon Bailey did at Ghent. He gets signed then by a German team like, I don't know, like a Schalke or Leverkusen or Frankfurt or whatever. He plays there for 2 years, then, 2-3 years, then big clubs are looking at him when he's 21, 22. And then he's ready to play for that big team. He's got all the game time afforded to him to play. And then you're talking about how this guy is a world-class talent, blah, blah, blah. And this is what Kennedy and what Masunda missed out on. I honestly feel if they got the same amount of game time, they'd be seen in the same light as guys like Bailey and Malcolm. So that is the cynical side, to all of this. Are guys like Malcolm and Bailey like naturally more talented than Masunda, Kennedy and Boga? Probably not. I mean, there's an argument that they're all on the same type of level. But with these guys, they just have more match experience. And I think, big clubs, they tend to favour more experience than talent. You know what I mean? Okay, what other questions are there? Okay, Lukeman, you can see Guedes, he wasn't playing at Paris Saint-Germain. He went to Valencia. Then you see his amazing performances. Exactly. And he's lucky that he's lucky he got that Valencia move. And let's say Valencia weren't interested or something came up where he couldn't sign for them on loan. Let's say a team like, what's like a bad La Liga team? I don't know, not Granada. Let's say Real Betis. Tried to sign him on loan. Would he be able to show those same performances that he would have shown at Valencia, at Real Betis? No, because they play a completely different system. And it wouldn't have complimented him. And then people are talking about Guedes in a different light. Then, he's overhyped. He moved too soon, etc., etc. And this shit happens in football every single time. Dami Nini, what's your thoughts on the 2 billion takeover bids rejected? Again, Chelsea are not in a situation where that's ever going to happen. This club, the future, the assets we have, is too much high-end assets that we have, the loan army. The commercial deals coming in, as we're seeing with Hyundai, as we're seeing with Yokohama and all these deals. I mean, in the Nike deal as well. And there's going to be even more coming in the future on top of that. That new stadium that's going to be coming there soon, Chelsea's going to be very profitable. So I don't even know if 2 billion would be enough, really, to, to buy Chelsea from Roman. That wouldn't happen. And Roman's got a lot of money. His investments, everything's coming through. His businesses, his companies, all the shares he has in certain companies, etc. That 2 billion isn't enough, especially when it's not going to happen. Okay, what other? Alan Rivera, Betis isn't a bash team. Yeah. Oscar 123. Nini, make me moderator for the next one. I'll do that. Okay. Vatsal Pandya. Conte wins treble Real Madrid's. Okay. Darrell Sanborn. Okay. There's some good questions. Hidden visibly. Yep. Theatre of streams. Bitcamp. Politics is a dirty game show. How involves Abramovich? Yep. Yeah, you guys, if you want, let me go into Patreon to find some questions. You guys, if you are a Patreon subscriber and you are listening, send me your questions through Patreon, and yeah, that's that. Will Rayner, hey man, sorry, yeah, again, you can ask as many questions as you want, it's not a big deal. Will the cold weather and ingrown toenail issues be a prevalent problem for Seri? Well, I think a lot of clubs would already know how to combat that, something like that already, you know what I mean? You saw that player, that personality profile I did have. Again, the club are well aware of that. Everyone's well aware of that. Now, but the thing that people keep saying about England is that, you know, England, I feel, is more rainy than it is cold. You know, it's not as if England's like, you know, 0 degrees and minus all the time. It's not. Most times it's just shit weather. It's just rain. So I mean, I don't think that Surrey. I don't think the cold would really affect Surrey that much, in my opinion. Yeah, if it's, let's say it's winter time, or you know, you know, the early months of the year, and it's snowing, then yeah. But that doesn't happen as much, and I'm sure they know how to deal with that anyway. So his toe problem, it won't be unless a Russian team want to sign him, which they won't. Again, if you're a Russian team, if you're playing in very cold climates, then yeah, you probably are not going to sign Seri. But somewhere like in England's, it's not a big deal, you know. Other questions to ask. As I said, you guys, if you want your question prioritized, send a super chat. Nothing big or fancy. 50p, a pounds, you know, it's all calm. Thank you, Rob, for the question. Rob Stevenson, how do you cope with Twitter full of absolute idiots? Yeah, that has definitely been one thing. Because here's the thing, it's weird. Like, obviously, you guys watching me, I don't know. I understand. I understand the mentality as well. You know, I've watched a lot of YouTubers. I do like watching YouTube. So sometimes, like when you watch them, maybe you don't think of them as like, you know, like what they're doing, or like how their lives are, stuff like that. You know, all you take from them is like what you see through their videos. You know what I mean? And you know, the reason why I'm saying that is the fact that you know, like 2 years ago, I mean, I was just a viewer. You know what I mean? So I'm in like the spotlight in a way, and it is definitely like something that you have to, you know, transition with and cope with. You know what I mean? Because it's like you got to think. Yeah, on Twitter, I've got like more than 6,000 followers. You know, I don't have more than like, you know, 10 friends. You know what I mean? Uh, um, that's what I mean. It does get hard when you're put in that spotlight. You do have to cope with that. Unfortunately, you get a lot of negativity. I think anytime you focus on anything like, you know, opinion based, like with my videos, naturally you're going to have a lot of discourse with a lot of people. But unfortunately, maybe because again, they only know you from what they see through your videos, I think maybe when they attack you, they can be much more harsher than they need to be. And I think that's one thing I'm definitely coping with. You know, I've realized now that when people are attacking me, they don't know who I am as a person. They don't know what I watch, what I like, what I find funny, what I do outside here, what my life is even like outside of YouTube. So whenever they're obviously, you know, being harsh or being rude, I'm learning now to not take it so personally, because it can't be a personal attack if they don't know you. You know what I mean? And yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, I've only now started to use the block button, and I've kind of thought that, well, you know, the reason why all these guys who have a go at me, they follow me. And I know why they're following me, because obviously the videos I make are good and the news I bring out is good. So I thought I'm gonna block them so they can't see that, because they don't deserve to now. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, this you know, anytime you put yourself out online, it can be you know, you definitely have to be careful. That's one thing I have done. You know, I try to keep everything about myself very private. You know, everything I do very private. I don't try to say too much about my opinions. I try to keep everything to the football. I see what it's like online. You know, you see how many people get taken down, or how many problems they have. You know what I mean? You know, let's say tweets from how many years ago. I deleted all my tweets just to be safe. You know what I mean? I was just getting paranoid. You know, every week someone's being exposed for this or that. You don't even know what you said. You know, people can't accept that you become a different person. Yeah, obviously, you know, online is risky, but I mean, at the same time, you do have to accept a bit of, you know, you have to accept what happens to, you know. But anyway, thank you for that question. Any other super chats? I think there is, right? CFC Anuj, thank you, bro. Thank you for that. Your question is from Monday. Is it hot negotiations with ADL? Like I said, I'll release that video tomorrow. Obviously, I was told the info on Friday. I haven't had the time to make the video today. But yeah, of course, there is news on the discussions, and I'm going to tell you the full context as to what it is. I think sometimes when people read these reports and these journalists, I think people, again, gas themselves up. I'm hoping with this channel, or maybe it's something I can be better with, is, you know, I want you guys to manage your expectations, you know. Understand the full story. Understand you know, understand everything that happens that leads to, yeah, that leads up to these announcements. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people, and actually not a lot, a few people do a disservice to themselves because they think anytime they watch news, it's some breaking announcement, and it's like, no. I mean, you know, every with news, it's always an update and an update and an update. You know what I mean? That's how you got to take things. And yeah, I'm looking at all these reports from these journalists. I mean, just saying negotiations will continue for a few more days. There's nothing else in that. You know what I mean? I've been lucky with the people I know. I get further insight into what that actually is, that, you know, that is delaying stuff. So you guys will be hearing about that tomorrow. But yeah, man. Thank you for that super chat, man. Thanks. Okay, other questions to answer. You guys, I'm going to be on for 24 minutes, so don't forget that. Okay, Oreska, I'll make you the mod today, but Oreska, only ban people that if it's something racist, or if it's like someone that's you know, if it's someone that's like spamming, you know what I mean? Otherwise, like I said, if someone's got a different opinion, don't block that. They can say that, even if they're sounding a bit like a prick. You can leave it in there. Don't go crazy. Don't be like super sensitive and like block everyone for everything. You know what I mean? Just for, you know, only do it when you have to. You know. Okay, Everyday Monday. Okay, I missed that. Ding Kivo, CFC TV or 100% Chelsea. I'd say 100% Chelsea. To be honest, I don't really like CFC TV. I mean, the people there are nice. You know, Sophie's nice, Rory's nice. You know, everything I hear about these guys too is only ever good things. So, again, I've no personal issue or anything like that. I don't know who runs the channel, whatever. Me personally, I just find the content very lazy. 100% Chelsea. Yeah, I like the guys there too. Some of the guys there as well. Again, I'll be honest, I do think that my channel is probably the best one, if I'm being honest. I've got a lot more plans to make it even better as well. Yeah, but again, out of those two, 100% Chelsea for me. Okay. Carl Martin Nini, do you want Murata to stay? Oh, I just remembered. J Mojo, you're here. You're here. Okay, my bad. I completely forgot, man. I didn't even see you in the chat. Sorry about that. MKTF, have you played Detroit? I've downloaded Detroit. I haven't had the time to play it yet, so hopefully soon. Yeah, hey Mojo, man, sorry about that. I forgot. I need to find the other guy. What's his name? Okay. Tanashi, who is the manager? Ugh, okay. Though they're the types of questions I don't understand, though. Who is the manager? Like, I keep stressing, news it changes. It's an update. I mean, the two candidates so far you should care about are Sari and Laurent Blanc. That's that. You know what I mean? I get these questions a lot, and then obviously with everything I'm hearing, and then with my personal opinion on top of that, then I'll make stuff like, yeah, I think I'm confident with Sari. I know he's gonna come. But I feel like I get forced to have to say these types of things because I'm always getting questions like that. Okay, Ayub, Nini, you have 75 likes. Your first dislike is from me. Okay, then. This is what I mean. The internet can just be weird sometimes. CFC Anuj, Nini, remember your source said Kaba has signed new contracts? Yeah, that's already more than that's already sorted. Chelsea Youth to reveal that too. I think a day or two ago as well. So Caballero, that's a done thing. So that's going to be announced pretty soon. And then and I'm hearing too that once Caballero is announced, potentially a signing could be announced not too long after that. So that's all I'm hearing so far. And until things are much more concrete, then I'll do that. Oreska, there's already a mod already so far, man. So sorry about that. What other questions are there? Yeah, you guys, I'm going to be on for 20 minutes longer. Let me answer some Patreon questions, if there's any Patreon ones. Um. Okay. Forward thinking. How many teams do you reckon will challenge for the title next year, next season? Every season there's talks of 5 to 6 teams, but in reality, like last season, yep. I think there's probably four. I'd probably say us, Liverpool, City, and United's will be the contenders. You know what I mean? They're the four ones that will be competing for the league. Everyone's investing a lot of money. Liverpool have invested a lot. We'll be investing money as well. So yeah, Man City. I think there's talks of Jorginho or Mahrez. Yeah, I mean, people will be closer to Man City for next season. Josh Banks, assuming Sari comes off, fingers crossed, and we sign Martial, assuming, who would you play up front, Martial or Hazard? I think with these guys, I mean, you probably keep Martial up front, but with how the system would actually work, they'd be interchanging positions all the time. So that's when it becomes very exciting. Other questions to answer? Okay, Munchley, Dong. Why did I say that? If you had to put 4 youth players in the starting 11 together with the squad we have today, who would you choose? I'd pick Boga, De Silva, Mount, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Other questions? Usman, what do you think of Husai? Will he be first choice or Aspie going to be number one? With Husai, I don't really think he's all that to be. I mean, he's decent, but he's not worth the type of money that Napoli would want for him. So nah, he seems to be like an Aspie type of fullback. So I don't see why we'd spend money for that when we already have the original fullback. Now Oreska, there's already a mod already, man. So you need to stop asking me. Christian, yes, Christian, you good? Kwame, I took a breath from setting up the podcast program. Nice. Tony, smash your like button. Yeah. Daniel, Narte, Tammy. Hey, Daniel, I saw you spamming a lot in the 100% Chelsea stream. Obviously, thanks for backing it. But don't be thinking you'll be spamming in this one tonight. Obviously, I appreciate the love, bro. Thanks a lot. But I don't want to see like Tammy. Actually, I'm already seeing too many Tammys. Seeing way too many. So don't spam it by being stupid. I'm just being upfront. Okay, Alex. Alex Angelov, why are you hyping up Boga so much? Don't say hyping. I'm not hyping up anything. It's not hyping up when I've watched the people play. A majority of people that normally make comments like that don't watch these guys, so they don't have the context. You know what I mean? So please don't tell me I'm hyping up anyone as if I'm basic like that. I don't think he's anything special. All right, unlike Hudson-Odoi, I think he's a bright future. Well, again, that can be a discussion point. But at the same time, I could be like, well, explain why you think Hudson-Odoi is better than Boga. You didn't say anything about why you think that's the case, so I don't get what you're talking about. Psychonic, are you obsessed? Why are you obsessed with Boga when you have Odoi? As I've said, I keep saying, I watch these guys play. Daniel, what's going on with Tammy? Sorry, bro, my bad. I got you. Appreciate that, man. With Tammy, yeah, we'll see. Again, you guys, a lot of these hypotheticals we need to wait till the new manager comes and when pre-season starts. That's when we'll have a clear idea of who's going to be in the squad and who's not. Turnip Dave, we aren't going to beat City to the league next season. We should aim for top 4. Well, yeah, again, it's the start of a project. It's the start of building. We need to get our foundations back. We haven't had foundations for like 3 seasons now. We need to get that back. So it's a project that's going to be happening. So let's keep that in the back of your mind. Aidan Boyle, I'd say Martial would cost about 60 million because he's from United. Maybe add another 10 million to that if I was you. Lunt, Banzi, Nini with the bombs, safe. Nick Blakely, Mason Mount needed 100%. You guys, I posted in my community tab a video done by CFC Video in regards to Mason Mount. You guys, the content is out there. For people that want to get educated and informed on these types of players, it's all there to see for you to get an understanding of how good they are. I suggest watch these videos that these content creators make because, it takes a lot of time to, watch these games, cut the clips of them playing and then putting that all together. So, yeah, shout out to Tiggs and to CFC Video. Adil Hassan, where do you see football evolving in terms of formations? A few years ago, it was 4-2-3-1. Now it looks like 4-3-3 is the way to go. What do you think will be the next big formation? Well, normally for me, how I see formational changes, it all depends on how it normally starts is how teams set up off the ball. You know what I mean? Like, we're seeing the introduction of 4-3-3 coming back now. We're seeing the introduction of a more modern day, a more versatile number 10. Like, they're not necessarily as technically gifted as the old number 10s, like guys like your Gutis and Zidans and, players of that dimension. But, with these modern day number 10s, they are able to collect the ball in the half space. They are able to play out wide. They are able to obviously have a good set piece there as well and provide creativity as well. So they're like a combination of like a midfield player and a number 10. And the reason as to why these half space, modern day number 10 players have become a thing now is because of how teams are defending off the ball. They're defending even deeper. They're really happy to have no possession at all. And because of that, it's become about the positionings of your player. And players in the half space, if you're positioned between the opposition's fullback and their defender, that means that one of those guys, because it's a very awkward position, one of those guys has to come out to deal with you, meaning that you do create spaces out wide. And this is why Man City have been so amazing last season, because they've been tactically exploiting most of these teams, and teams can't really cope quickly enough from a tactical aspect, because again, you're only playing Man City twice a year. If you're unlucky a few times if you meet them in cup competitions or whatever like that, but yeah, they've really taken advantage of a lot of teams taking advantage of their tactical setup off the ball, and that's why there's been an introduction of that. I think maybe I'm trying to think how would you combat the modern day half space player. I think maybe the best way to combat that is play football a bit. So I guess as you see more teams, I think maybe the only way I see it going forward is the reintroduction of teams using more midfields or having more up front. You know what I mean? Could 4-2-4 be the way to go? I guess possibly. If you're not using 4-2-4 with let's say like traditional players like a target man and a little guy, a winger that can cross the ball in. Let's say your whole front four can all swap positions. Let's say they can drop deep, they can move in central, they can move out wide. Maybe that could be a way to combat, to combat these, this new style of team right now. Could be a possibility. That is definitely an interesting question. That is definitely a good one. Okay, let me answer some Patreon questions. Will Rayner, bro, as Patreon, I like to do a sub call-in. Okay, yeah, that's perfect, man. Yeah, and for the next one, you'll be on that. Okay, forward thinking, with the talk of 4-3-3 being implemented back for next season, would you be opposed to using 4-2-3-1 at times versus less opposition, allowing a fourth attacking? I mean, yeah, of course. It's not going to be one set formation throughout the entire season. It's good to interchange and mix things up a bit. So yeah, I definitely agree. You'll need to have more attacking players at times, and that'll be definitely an interesting thing. Okay, are there any other questions? Tony, thank you, Tony, for that super chat, man. Appreciate that. Love the channel, bro. Hope the reports of Higuain for Morata aren't true. Morata will come around. He's younger, and I feel he has a big upside. Now, with stuff like reports like this, as I said, it's news. If you're a club, you talk to a ton of agents, you talk to a ton of players. You have an idea of what position you want covered, and then there's probably a list of so many players. So it's just because, let's say we talk to Higuain and then he never signs for us. It doesn't mean that it was a lie or that the reports were made up. That doesn't happen. Yeah, maybe if you're Don Balon, then yeah, I can understand. If you're like a shitty tabloid paper or shitty tabloid website, then yeah. But then with stuff like this, it's not one. You know what I mean? You don't understand how much discussions and business happens behind the scenes in football every single time. So yeah, it's not a case of Higuain being false, because it definitely isn't false. I mean, he probably is someone the club are looking at, and there's other strikers that we are looking at as well. You know, Icardi, Lewandowski as well, Martial. So yeah, I mean, it is definitely interesting. But I think Higuain, I don't know, the outlay, the money he'd cost to, I don't think he'd be the option. I think you could get Cavani for less, to be honest, and I think he's better than Higuain. Okay, Everyday Monday, is this workplace man, zero connection. It's, yeah. Kramer, what do you think about Pulisic? I think he's a good player. I think that he hasn't had his breakout moment at Dortmund just yet. I think he definitely learned a lot last season playing under them. I think once he becomes an undisputed starter, that's when we can start to talk about Pulisic. Okay, to Boca, do you think Conte would be successful at Real Madrid? I'm not. I mean, he'd have to adapt his style. He would have to. There's no way in hell you're gonna be. I mean, there's no way in hell you're gonna be getting certain guys to play the football that he likes, especially when you've got one of the best squads in the world. So again, it's interesting. I mean, I can imagine against big teams will be a bit pragmatic, but he'll definitely have to change his ideas up a bit if he, if he does continue that same style. Tolu, hi Nini, what would you say is the difference between Pep and Sarri's style of play? That is a very, very long question, to be honest, and I'm not even going to be on here for too long. I've got 8 more minutes, so sorry about that, man. Maybe if you come on a subscriber call-in show, that's something we can talk about. Adil Hassan, bro, what are your opinions on fans constantly bashing Marina? I don't personally understand it, as Chelsea are moving towards a more sustainable model. In my opinion, she is succeeding in that. I agree. I think some of it can be a way too over the top. And this is what I mean with how reactionary everything is. Like, I'm hoping with this channel that, you guys know that I'm not a reactionary guy. Where I'm like, my emotions aren't all over the place. I'm not getting pissed off at this or that. I like to think I'm objective first over everything. And to be objective, you have to look at the overall picture. And when you look at the overall picture, you look at the positives and the negatives. And I think that if you want to be objective with Marina and you really break it down, looking at the overall picture, looking at the context of situations, looking at her positives and her negatives, then I think that your perspective on her will be different. Of course, again, that doesn't mean I won't critique her, which I'll critique anyone. You know what I mean? It's Chelsea first before anyone, and I do think sometimes with certain negotiations, she can be a bit too much of a hard ass. I don't think it comes down to her being a woman. Of course not. I think it's just her personality. People's, your sex doesn't determine your personality. So yeah, I think that I think she can be too much of a hard ass at times. Okay, other questions. Christian, yep, I'm looking at Patreon now. Okay, Christian. Would sending Mason Mount for a second Vitus loan and Hudson-Odoi with him be a good move since they both get Europa League experience? Would you like to keep both, but would you rather them stay or go to the championship if the managers don't want them to? I don't want Mount and Hudson-Odoi should not be in the championship at all. For me, the championship is for guys like Casey Palmer, etc., etc. That's understandable then, because let's say the club aren't too sure about how high the level is going to be. They can test themselves there. If they do well, then they can kind of control their destiny. Guys like Mount and Odoi are on another level to that. Shouldn't be wasting their time in the championship. What are you learning there? You don't learn anything there. I don't understand. Even the physical side. I mean, the Premier League isn't as physical anymore as it used to be. All the physical teams are gone now. Sunderland, West Brom, Stoke. You know what I mean? The Premier League is moving away from that style of football. So when discussions become about physique, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore. But yeah, I just don't see what any of those guys would learn playing in the championship. And again, it's just like, yeah, it comes down to, who cares if you did well in the championship? You know what I mean? Does that mean you're going to get in the first team? Does that mean you're going to be playing for a top 6 team? No, you just end up playing for Swansea. You know what I mean? It's not really that exciting, to be honest. You guys have got 5 more minutes before I'm off. So if anyone wants any questions, prioritize, you know what to do, send your super chats. other questions are there? Navbra, do you think we need to humble ourselves a bit and be ready for what we might not get, Sarri ball or Blanc ball, as soon as the season starts or even the whole season? Don't you think it will take one season until we get max effects with the system like City did with Guardiola? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I don't think it's going to take a whole season. Of course not. We already have a lot of the players already. The main reason as to why Pep was never going to do amazing in his first spell was because 30-something-year-old Zabaleta was there. 30-something-year-old Sania was there. The whole Kolarov, 30-something. They had no pace. They couldn't play high-line football. That was the main reason. So honestly, the whole team knew how to play. It just came down to getting the defense that complements the rest of the team. And that's that basically. You know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying. I understand the sentiment. I agree. But it's not going to take a whole season. Of course, it can be improved upon even more the following season. But it won't take us that long to get used to a new style. Okay. What other ones are there? Felipe Arantes, do you prefer Higuain or Icardi? I'll probably go for Icardi because of his youth and he's very clinical. I think that Higuain, I think if it comes down to who's going to take that big chance in a game, I'm confident that Icardi is most likely to win me a game compared to Higuain. Okay, Young Nipple, what's your thoughts on Tovin from Marseille? Yep, Tovin from Marseille. Like again, he's being scouted by the club. He's definitely on the target list. He's part of the list for the right wing role we're looking at. You know, Bailey, Malcolm, Tovin, Richarlison, Plea as well. So yeah, Tovin, very good. Again, this guy was always seen as a new Ribery. You can definitely find another level playing for a better team. So yeah, he's a good player. What other questions are there? Okay, Josh Banks. Okay, Nini, do you think Batshuayi should be sold? I think it's a waste to sell him and buy another finisher when we could just focus our efforts on Martial, who offers something more exciting and different. I don't see how that would affect our efforts, though. You know what I mean? I don't see how selling Mitchley would affect our efforts when it comes to trying to target Martial, to be honest. But with Mitchley, it's going to come down to him. Of course, again, once the manager's there and once he's seen who he likes, who he doesn't, then we'll start to see much more moves with that. Of course, with Mitchley, again, it will come down to him if he wants to stay or not. I'm sure before he fully decides, he'll want to speak to whoever the new manager is first. But the club are open to selling him if they do get that 50 million. So, again, that's what it's going to come down to. Will Dortmund fork that money up? Not too sure, to be honest. It is a crazy amount of money, but who knows? Okay, you guys, I'm on for 2 more minutes and I'm gone. Like I said, if you want any questions prioritized before I go, send a super chat. If not, I'll hopefully catch your question in the next Q&A stream. Okay, Ellie Lin. Not sure why Willian couldn't be played century in a 3. Yeah, I mean he can play there. Ian Varui, Nini, do you think of Batshuayi and Icardi? Yeah, they are similar. I constantly say it all the time. Yeah, they're Fox in the box players. They score all their goals in the penalty box. Marseille, that was what Mitchell was constantly doing. I think that they are the same players stylistically. Nitesh, we should not waste any money on defenders. Exactly. Stupid to waste money on defenders. We don't need to. Chris Richardson, do you reckon we should sell Luis? Listen to my video tomorrow. I'm gonna release that manager video tomorrow. SP Dunker, do you think DM deep line playmakers position is something getting rebranded with Terrara, Seri, Maya? Yeah, low gravity centre with players. I think deep line playmakers have always had a degree of a low centre of gravity. I mean, guys like Scholes, Xavi, Pirlo, Cesc, you know, Keita. I mean, it's not something new in that regards. I think that, you know, with how teams are defending off the ball very deep, and how you need to have someone in midfield that can make sense of all your possession. This is why these guys are making a comeback now, because the big teams do need them. But I don't think they've been rebranded or they've evolved. I just think that there's been a much more renewed importance on those styles of players. Okay, Patreon. K-Max. Hey bro, what are your thoughts on what should happen with Ampadu and Chaloba next season? Ampadu impressed me the most out of any Chelsea breakthrough youth. In a while, he's very special. I think Ampadu, a loan move to Derby, that would make a lot of sense. Chaloba as well, I think a loan move abroad to maybe Borussia Mönchengladbach, that would be great for him. I think these guys do loan moves because they need to play consistently. I don't think they're too good for that level now. They just need that game time. Unfortunately, they won't get it at Chelsea. I think Ampadu should get a loan move. I think, obviously, expect a few Chelsea players to get that loan move to Derby. I expect that to happen. I'm going to answer one more question before I go. And you guys, the people that send me emails during these streams, I mean, I'm not going to... Sorry, Sanjay, bro, but I'm not going to obviously... you should have kept it for the stream, to be honest. And again, it was a suggestion from someone on the stream. But yeah, you guys don't send me emails to answer your questions because I'm just not going to do that. But I'm going to answer one more question. Any news on Seri? Yep, I'm hearing a bit of news on him. Niiniifc sources. Nope. Again, I don't know what you're talking about, Jack Football, because I released a stream last week with both my sources on, so I don't understand. This is what I mean with the internet sometimes. People just because they don't really know you. The shit that people create and make up can be a bit weird sometimes. You know what I mean? I literally had the video with the source in there. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why that's the case. But you guys, yeah, K-Max, I've already answered your question already. Yeah, I've answered it already, man. So yeah, you guys, I'm gonna end the stream now. I don't think there's any super chats. I think I've done all of that. Yeah, you guys, I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank you for coming on. Sorry I couldn't answer all your questions. It's like more than 300 people. It is gonna be hard to go through all of them. Evan, you sent me a Patreon. Okay, let me see. Your message hasn't come through yet, man. You might have to keep it for another time, maybe. Okay, I've got one more question from Patreon. Hi, Nini. Sawyer's lawyer from Twitter. We've DM'd before. I just got on your Patreon, been toying with the idea of a conventional back four as a variation next season. Rudiger, Christensen, Zuma, Aspie. How many goals will this backline leak? None. More defensive than modern day fullbacks, but I feel we can use this formation in some games or being very attacking heavy in midfield and forward line, knowing that the backline is secure. This is the thing, Neil. Obviously, thank you for your question, but if you think about it, this is what Jose Mourinho basically was doing at Chelsea. Let me have that back four that always keeps in line, and they obviously stay in their positions. But and I keep saying this point all the time. You look at modern day football. You look at every big team. There's a reason why every big team has good fullbacks, and there's a reason why they use their fullbacks to attack and to go forward. I mean, even Diego Simeone, defensive manager, but look how far forward Juanfran, Felipe Luis, Hernandez, and Vasalco get forward. You need that because you need to create those overloads when you're playing against teams that are defending. You don't get enough men forward if you have a back four that are just stationed there, not doing anything. And in a way, you leave yourself exposed to counters if you're not closing down people in their own half. So having a back four of Rudiger, Christensen, Zuma, Aspie is way too defensive. You need to have that attacking support out wide from the fullbacks. And yeah, man, it's just not really... It's not going to help the cause in terms of breaking teams down. You need to have that width. You need to create those overloads. You want your attacking players to be in those central positions. That's why we struggled under Mourinho, and this is why we became very predictable under him and predictable under Conte as well. When your attacking players can't play in the areas they want, if you don't have those fullbacks further forwards being extra men, creating space for your attacking players, you make their lives much harder, and then you really struggle to create chances. So yeah, a really defensive back four really isn't the way to go, in my opinion. But again, thank you for being a Patreon subscriber. I appreciate that, man. Thanks a lot. And obviously, thank you for your question as well. You guys, I'm going to wrap this stream up right now. As I was saying, thank you for watching. Thank you to everyone that's been participating. I'm Niiniifc. This is Blue Line CV. Signing out.